say they're for the common man, but when Bruce Springsteen did that acoustic tour several years ago, the tickets were like $10,000.
Oh, for the small arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't going to that show.
And I'm actually, I don't know if you know this. Have you ever seen Sleepaway Camp Part 2 and 3? Bruce's sister is actually the main character. She was an actress for a short time.
Angela?
Yeah, and 2 and 3.
Yeah, we talked about that a few weeks
Yeah, I think you told me that. But...
she actually took the picture for the cover of Born to Run.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I saw that guitar at the Hall of Fame when I went. Was amazed. I definitely go Springsteen 100%.
Yeah.
When you think about it, Springsteen gets credited for ending disco with Born to Run. So that's pretty high on the list of accomplishments. But then you have Mellencamp did Farm Aid, which I went to, by the way.
Me
at the
too.
Dome. And man, I saw so many unbelievable
I saw
legendary
bands I didn't
players
really
there.
know
I mean,
were good bands. Then.
Seeing Stephen Stills play acoustic guitar is something that would be high on my list of awesome musical experiences.
And that was the year that Elton John came in.
It was.
Ryan White died that day.
That's a fact.
I was there.
That's a fact. Yep.
Yeah, 85.
To see Elton John right there.
I stood in line at Karma for hours. I had just got my wisdom teeth taken out and my face was out to here.
Yeah, it was great.
And we got up there and they ended up doing the lottery system drawing. And I was second.
Oh my God.
So I got second row
We
seats.
had 4 seats, but they were.
I had second row.
That's
floor.
35 years ago. Imagine.
Can you believe that?
Man, 35 years ago.
It was awesome.
I was still a kid, but I loved it.
I went back and looked at all the bands that were at that show, and I was just like, wow.
Guns N' Roses.
Yes, I was like,
And you know what? Honestly, I have no problem saying this at all. Do you know who the most exciting, entertaining person was of the whole show for me? Was Henry Lee Summer.
Yeah, really.
I saw him at Nightstown at the gymnasium.
Well, he was.
Ass.
Yeah, that's when he was in his
Yes.
prime right there
Yes.
too.
He had a top 10 hit, you know.
He
with
was
Darling
my
Daniel.
very first concert I ever seen.
I've seen
I got
we
to see
played
him
with
at
him.
Nightstown at
Yeah, we
the
played with him a
gymnasium.
few different times, and he is great. He's fantastic. So,
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's
He came to
wonderful
Newcastle
nice
and we did a
guy.
show, and I did a newspaper article on him. I think he was a little flighty. You know, I maybe partied too much
He's an
at
artist.
the time, but man, nice guy.
he played in Hagerstown with us, and we had Hagerstown packed.
Oh,
And I'm going to
man.
tell you something, he kicked ass. And about third song in, he broke the string on his guitar and had to use my Strat the rest of the night.
No,
So,
nice.
Yeah, he was trying to talk me out of it, but I had to take it back.
And by the way, the census says that a Jackie show would not be booked.
Was that Sam?
No, that was Angela.
It depends on
You go, girl.
what the topic is, I guess. All right, well, let me go through my little spiel. I'm always the one who, you know, is the kind of the Billboard, Rolling Stone analyst of it all.
This is gonna take 45 fucking minutes.
Plagiarism, Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Spin.
Now, I would say, honestly, I was geared up to want to pick John Mellencamp for this. I'm not a Bruce Springsteen fan very much. I respect him, but I've just never been a fan. So I was dying to try to throw Johnny a bone here, but it was really hard to think about that because Springsteen just has an incredible resume of awards and everything that blows Mellencamp out of the water. There's just a big difference
I'm gonna
there.
cut that down a
He
minute.
blows
So-
everybody out of the water.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
I mean,
when you're
it's
sitting
hard to
there,
compare
Except for
anybody.
that one Mellencamp fact you told me, so.
Yeah. So Mellencamp, some of the things I got into, you know, I always call it Heartland rock. It's kind of the and Bruce and John both have this dirty rock sound about them in a little bit when they play, that's I think one of the main keys of why they're so popular. But Mellencamp had 22 top 40 hits, which is very impressive, and holds the record for the most tracks of a solo artist of #1 rock charts. He had 7. For a person who's solo, this is a record that he holds.
Wow.
7.
And he hasn't had a
rock.
#1 hit in how long?
Yeah, I know.
I
He doesn't
said
have
all all
too.
the, and
Yeah.
all the bands that have
He's
come
too
out.
If he
busy
had a number one
feeding
hit, I don't know what
homeless
it is.
people.
But from the late 70s, basically until the mid 90s, this guy was on fire, you know. So he had a lot of hits. He was also nominated for 13 Grammys, but only won one. I mean, that's pretty
Mellencamp
impressive.
did?
Yeah.
I wouldn't
That's
be
pretty
surprised
impressive.
if he even wanted it. You know?
Can you guess what he won the Grammy for?
Mellencamp?
Yeah.
Was it his movie?
No.
That's
Grammy.
a movie.
Grammy song.
Well, soundtrack to
I'd
he,
say
he
Jack
did his.
Diane.
I can't remember
That's
the movie.
pretty close.
What it's called, but I've seen the movie.
Let me think
But-
about this now. Why would he?
I mean, it's obviously one of his biggest hits he ever had. I would have said what she said, but
So it wasn't Jack and Diane,
no,
and it wasn't Pink Houses.
no. That same exact time frame though.
I don't know.
It's Hurt So Good.
Oh yeah,
It was
I think that might have been his first number one.
it was best male rock performance in
Oh,
1982. 82,
Hard to believe that, but yeah.
you know.
I've been
So
in junior high.
obviously the man did Farm Aid, one of the guys. That's a big plus in my holster when you do something like that. He's also in Mellencamp's also in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And had 23.
Oh, that
23
Mellencamp has?
Stevie Adams.
Yeah.
So
I just looked up. It says Mellencamp won 3 Grammys.
really,
It says 83 for Album of the Year, American Fool.
That was a good one.
83
Yeah.
Best Male Rock Vocal Performance for Hurt So Good.
well,
And
something that's not that outdated.
1989 for Best Performance Music Video.
Holy shit! It's on live Facebook. Mike is not got
Hey,
his facts.
Are you sure these
right.
aren't just
I got it
nominations?
from Wikipedia,
Wait, it says
man.
nominated.
You always read Twitter
Look
about
at that,
Wikipedia
dumbass.
sometimes.
You know, maybe it was.
I really do
The
wonder about
last time, the
Wikipedia.
last
Yeah,
time,
It's not always right.
the last time he was nominated
Jackie,
for a
smack him with
Grammy
this.
was in 2008. He was nominated for Best Solo Rock Vocal Performance for Freedom's Road.
I didn't even like it, to be honest
That's
with
the
you.
last
either.
time he was nominated.
He, I'm not sure that he really digs those accolades.
Probably not.
It's kind of communicative because I just don't, I think he is such a true, genuine artist that it's just so personal to him that, I'm sure he appreciates people loving him and stuff, but I just think he knows, internally, introspectively that he's done something special and whether anybody other than him likes it or not.
That's
And I
true.
think they're both like
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
one of the things I like about him.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to know a lot of people that knew John Mellencamp a lot of times and different stories I've heard, and most of them aren't pretty good from his attitude and stuff like
A little bit
that.
like that. That's one
His
difference.
friend Wikipedia told him.
That's one of the things that I will
He's
say
on
that
Wikipedia.
to me, as much as I love Mellencamp, and I'm telling you, I adore his music so much. I feel like, especially for the reasons that I perform and play music, I feel like every time I've seen John, which is a whole bunch, that he's appreciative, but I feel like it's always a take it or leave it. This is
Right.
what you got.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
Springsteen's entire career is built around loving his fans and giving that energy to them and taking it back and
Yeah.
really just, as far as being a fan-friendly performer, man, I don't know too many who are better than Springsteen in that regard.
Well, I remember one of the stories.
But I'm
I've
taking
had-
nothing away from Mellencamp. It's
If-
impressive to be in the same conversation.
Yeah, I
with
just,
the Springsteen.
I know a guy who played bass in a lot of different places. He was in a band called Brothers Johnson back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And he was from Richmond.
Stomp.
Well,
Yeah, one of my
you probably
favorite
know
songs.
him. And he told me a story about Mellencamp because I asked him who the greatest artist he played with, and he always said Prince and Paul McCartney. But some reason he knew we talked about Mellencamp, and he said, "Man, I got a great story about him." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like going, "Yeah, he wanted me to play bass on his album. I'm walking up his studio and stuff, and somebody's like, 'Hey, who invited the black guy here? What the hell?' And they were playing basketball outside, and he was pissed. And he went up there and he goes, 'You say that to me again, I'm gonna lay you out on the freaking ground.' And Mellencamp turned around and goes, 'Good. He goes, I'm glad to hear that,' and all that. He goes, 'Welcome aboard.' And as soon as the guy put his foot down and told him,
Interesting.
you know,
I never heard nothing like that.
yeah, that's what he told me that story when I was working at the Richmond Karma there, and
I'll be dang.
because I was intrigued by this guy. I mean, he really played a lot.
I'm going to tell you something. A very underrated '70s band, Brothers Johnson.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Such a great pocket and a great groove.
Well,
Stomp's one of my favorite dance songs.
Well, most of the time you talk to people, I mean, if they're really into music back in and bought vinyl and all that stuff, they know who this guy, that band is. I mean, they really had some of the, you know, R&B stuff down back then.
Yeah, they were hot.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That was an interesting story you told me, though. I just wouldn't have thought that.
See, I think totally. Yeah, I mean, the stuff that I've heard and seen would be opposite of that with him. He's been very much a champion of civil rights and equal rights, and
got a lot of good.
we'll talk about. I mean, one of my videos is a Mellencamp video.
This was like before all that, you know, in the '80s, you know. So I don't know. Take it for a grain of salt, but I love listening to some musicians tell me things like that every once in a while. So, all right, now if we're gonna get into the Bruce Springsteen comparison, it's not really in comparison. Like I said, I usually do the awards and I think about what they did for the society and stuff like that. But check this out. Born in the USA, obviously, is his best album by far, and it blows away almost all the Mellencamp stuff in just one album. 15 times platinum.
Jesus.
Sold 30 million records of just that one album. Now, we talk about people all the time
I mean, that's like
on here that hadn't
Eagles'
sold
greatest hits.
30 million records their whole career.
I mean, so that has to be up there with, I mean, all time.
Oh, yeah.
What else are we up there? Eagles' greatest hits.
Michael Jackson,
Greatest Hits.
Rumors,
always
Thriller.
up there. You know, but it is listed as one of the greatest albums of all time. That's a lot. Had 7 top 10 singles on that one album
It
alone.
said what we needed to hear.
I mean, yeah.
At the time, I mean.
Yeah.
But him and Mellencamp were going back and forth at that time, man. They were both
Yeah.
really.
Well, they're pretty good
pushing
friends
each other.
from what you see now.
It's kind of,
'cause
you
they
know,
play together.
I kind of compare it to, you know, being that age, and I'm just starting to learn guitar, and I'm hearing Prince and Michael Jackson just keep upping the ante, and oh my God, you know what Michael did, and then Prince comes out with, you know, DMSR, and then Michael Jackson does, you know, Billie Jean or whatever came out, and then Prince comes out, and you know, Purple Rain's in the middle of there, and has a movie, and those two, having never collaborated, pushed each other, and two of the most. You know,
I think it might have been a little bit of a rivalry right there.
I think
with
it
each
was
other, you know?
a healthy one. You know?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know that Mellencamp or Springsteen would ever view music that way.
No.
The difference between pop music and non-pop.
No.
So,
We're usually not allowed to talk about Michael Jackson on the show.
We're changing some rules.
oops.
But
sorry.
check this out. Not in comparison. I mean, it just blows Mellencamp out of the water. 20 Grammys, 2 Golden Globes, American Academy Award, a Tony, 150 million records sold. That's just unbelievable. Songwriter of the Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He also, nobody hardly wins these 2 awards right here. Kennedy Center Music Honors.
That was
you
awesome.
got that, but the other one is a rarity in itself, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Wow.
I mean, not a lot of people get that at all, and so I mean, this isn't really a good comparison, I think, with these two. I mean, they have some of the similarities of the music style and stuff like that, but Springsteen just knocks it out of the park. He's got to be considered one of the greatest artists
I
ever.
agree.
So that's your vote?
Oh yeah, Bruce is my vote.
So really, we got 3 Springsteen sitting here?
And I'm not a big fan, but I'm just telling you, if you're comparison
And you know
here,
what?
But
I've
you
never-
know what? I compare with my heart and what I like. So.
Yeah.
What's
I've
your
never,
vote?
I've never
I vote
seen
for
him.
Mellencamp.
I've never seen him in concert. I've seen John several times.
yeah, I've seen John several times, but I've never seen.
I've
Bruce.
played both of their musics.
Yeah.
Springsteen's harder to cover.
I'm
To be
happy to
honest.
say
Well, that's 'cause
I've
you gotta
never
keep
seen
your mouth
John
closed.
Yeah.
Well, and,
You
you know,
gotta
honestly,
wear your mask.
Bruce don't play around here very often anymore, so.
Well,
That's because we have smaller venues.
the instrumentation,
small
the
venues.
makeup of a band that gets that Jersey sound like that. A lot of times you need, you know, a lot of music has a keyboard or has an organ and a piano going at the same time.
Right.
That's next to impossible cover band from Indiana, you know.
And
And
you
then-
need Italian guys.
So, well,
Okay, so-
that's what I talked about. That's Truck Boswell's vote because he likes Silvio. He's a big Sopranos fan, so
I am too.
he.
Hey, you want my point?
Yep.
Yeah, what you got?
Okay,
Make it quick.
everybody. I'm gonna tell you my time now.
10 seconds. You say 10 seconds.
Everybody is, talking about Bruce Springsteen and all this phenomenal things in music he's done. And here is my opinion in one sentence about that. Now, take Bruce Springsteen out of what he's done and put the E Street Band there, and there's your answer. It's not Bruce Springsteen. It's the band behind Bruce Springsteen.
Well, he does have a great
No,
band.
no,
with
no,
They
no.
both
yes.
have great bands.
him. Little Steven. You know.
But they look at John Mellencamp more as a solo artist, which he is
Yeah,
not, because
that's true.
they all got bands behind them.
That's true.
You cannot forget the musicians who, because a lead singer would not be who they are without the band behind them.
I see what you're
What was
saying.
that?
So, in Bruce Springsteen, he doesn't play your normal Hoosier Dome arenas and things like that because they're too small for him. And to me, that's a little condescending. And
He's played small
personally,
shows, too.
obviously, my choice is John Cougar here if you ain't figured it out. But personally, I just can't watch somebody who don't open their fucking mouth. I mean, because then I spend whether it's a video watching him or whatever, I spend the whole time watching his fucking mouth.
That must be why you like Kyle so much.
Shut up, man. I was gonna make a point. He did play small shows in like the mid '90s,
He only played him for a small amount of time.
but give the man credit.
I know, I'm giving his band
It's
credit.
hard because you're also running a
God damn it!
business.
Yeah,
He has got one of the best bands there is.
Sorry for ruining your.
And if I had to pick on that, if I had to pick on
he's
that,
one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
I'm about to smack.
I'm gonna throw something at
If
you.
I had to
Give me
pick that,
something
I
to
would
throw
pick
at
Bruce
you.
Springsteen for the E
I will
Street
say
Band.
this. This is what's interesting, and that I do connect with Bruce on is I saw him in an interview talking about just that, why he didn't capitalize solely on Bruce Springsteen and that branding, and he said because I had to be part of that group, I had to have that family. That's one of the reasons. I'm telling you what. I think one of the things that I find impressive about him is that he has relatively kept the majority of that band together for a long
Yeah, he really
time.
has.
And because they're more than a band to him, they're family as well.
Yeah.
And
But if
he's
he
done a
wasn't
few
in it,
things.
they could go and be phenomenal
I
on
know,
their
but would
own.
they have the songs? I mean, his
Well,
writing and
Stevens
arranging is pretty
He's
good.
done stuff.
He's
on
done
his own.
good. Did he actually write the theme to The Sopranos?
I don't know if he wrote it, but he
might
was
have just
involved with it
produced
so
it or
much as he was
something.
on the show.
But my
So-
biggest reason for picking John Cougar, bottom line, and I've met John Cougar.
And
I have been at a cookout with John Cougar. He has family that lives right over in Milltown. And one of my friends in high school, Sabina, she was dating his cousin. And my boyfriend at the time lived right next door to her boyfriend. And they had a big, like, neighborhood.
Earmuffs, Sam.
They had a big neighborhood cookout. And John Cougar was there.
I'll be dang.
So, but my biggest reason for John Cougar is, I mean, how bad can he be crawling in bed with Meg Ryan?
well,
Yeah, but she looks like crap now, dude.
I was just about to say that.
She's just like fine wine.
You got Meg Ryan that looks like she got chewed up by Rogan there. But
Ain't nobody even asking Kyle.
the E Street Band is in the Rock and Roll
They are.
Fame
They
on
are.
their own.
They are.
That's what I'm
fact.
saying.
Wow. That's true.
That's what I'm
That's true.
saying.
And with Bruce. And I think Bruce,
I'm saying that band made Bruce
if
Springsteen.
I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking it's either Bruce or Bono has the record for the most inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like they've inducted the most people.
I don't know.
And I
about
mean, and I'm
I
a
know they've
loyal
inducted
person.
Clapton 3 times.
I'm a
No,
loyal
I'm talking
person.
about them personally
Oh,
inducting
I
people.
gotcha.
I am a loyal person so much that, you know, it's even like one of my bad qualities at times. Yeah, I mean, he's an Indiana boy.
I
Yeah, I like
one of my
I mean,
favorite.
how much phenomenon do we coming out of corn-fed Indiana?
Michael Jackson.
I know.
Jerry,
That's what I'm
John
saying.
I got the best reason to like John Mellencamp. We share a birthday. Our
There
There you
birthdays
go.
are both- The only me, John Mellencamp, and James Whitcomb Riley.
I'll be damned.
All three of the best things from India. Well,
One of my
besides James Dean.
favorite Springsteen stories was when they were kids. I mean, I can't even imagine this. I couldn't even hardly tune my guitar when I was 18. They were young like that, and Chuck Berry came to Jersey and was going to play at one of the places they played. And when Chuck Berry traveled, all he took with him was his guitar. They had to provide him not just an amp, they had to provide him a band.
Huh.
Him and his guitar.
So they hired Bruce Springsteen and his buddies to be Chuck Berry's band.
Huh.
Well, I mean, Chuck Berry's probably, arguably, the most influential person in rock and roll history.
Well, there
I
you
mean,
go back to Lawrence.
really,
He
I
went
mean-
to prison in Indiana.
I mean, you really, when you think about his little boogie woogie Johnny B. Good style, kind of evolving blues into that style of music, that 1-4-5 rock and roll pattern that is still used predominantly today. I mean, that was Chuck Berry. So here these kids are. I mean, this is the equivalent of me getting to go play baseball with Pete Rose and Johnny Bench. Okay, so Springsteen, they're all a nervous wreck, and they're just kids. And Chuck Berry shows up, and they kind of meet, and they're getting ready to play and stuff, and they didn't practice or nothing like that. And Bruce Springsteen said, Mr. Berry, he looked at him and said, what songs are we going to play? And he said, Chuck Berry looked at him and said, Chuck Berry songs, you dumb motherfucker. And he said, didn't say a word. And he said he went out on stage and he would just kick off a song and they'd find what kids in and just play. And he said it was the scariest thing he's ever done in his
Wow, I
life.
bet,
Say that again real loud so Sam can hear you. He said, fucker.
Yeah.
I was quoting somebody saying.
Oh, man.
And, we talk about Indiana and being loyal. Chuck Berry went to prison
That's
in Indiana.
That is true.
There's plenty other Indiana artists. Mick Mars.
Oh, there's tons of them. I mean,
where's Mick Mars from?
we could even do a whole show on that.
Yeah, you got Axl.
I love Mick.
Axl Rose.
Oh, Axl.
Axl.
David Lee Roth.
David.
Where
I mean,
did
he's
he
not a
from?
musician. Tony
Is he?
Stewart.
Who?
Tony Stewart, he's not
Oh.
a musician, but
No.
he's Indiana boy.
David Lee Roth is actually from Newcastle.
And his
Are
dad,
you kidding me? I never.
she was my best friend growing up, Shelly Snagger. It was our senior year, it was homecoming, and she got killed in a car accident out there by Memorial Park. Well, Mr. Don Scott was her stepdad, and was a teacher here for many years and big in the community. Well, he was very good friends with David Lee Roth's dad, who is some type of, I don't know if it's a heart surgeon or brain surgeon.
David's father was a general surgeon.
No, he specializes in something. I'm not sure what off the top of my head.
I want to say.
You may be wrong, but I was thinking he was a heart doctor.
That's what I
surgeon.
would do. Very sad.
Anyway, he was here with Mr. Scott, her
I had
stepdad,
no idea about
and
that.
he tried to save her. And I just thought that was just phenomenal. David Lee Roth's dad
Well, of
trying to
course,
save one of my little friends.
You got one of my favorites too, the Faith Band.
Yeah.
Played a lot of shows with them.
Yeah.
Played with Bennett, played with Barnes, came and played drums with us and filled in shows before.
Yep.
Dave Barnes is one of my favorite people on the planet.
Yeah, me too. I love Dave.
He
He's a
just
great guy.
so kind. So
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
So did Springsteen
Sloppy
edge him
seconds.
out?
I guess.
I
3
think I
to 2.
was
Be so
Sloppy
transparent
seconds,
about it,
Yeah.
but it just really is. It's a compliment to be.
I mean,
Compared-
and another thing, Bruce Springsteen, he sings and writes all these songs about helping the common man and blue collar workers and
What
stuff.
was he at Farm Aid?
Does he have a soup kitchen? He's feeding people off the street.
I don't know.
He probably could.
Yeah, but you know who does have
Yes,
something
yeah.
like that?
John Bon Jovi.
Jovi.
Oh yeah, about John Bon Jovi.
I mean, and since Mellencamp's been with Mac Ryan, they're really big in helping the homeless and
Well, she
feeding
looks
people and
homeless.
stuff.
You can
so-
tell how much he loves being at home, and-
Yes.
Yeah, he's a painter, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
and you know
all
what?
into
He's
that.
gotten pretty damn good at it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
enjoy his stuff.
And
Yeah.
and that's another reason that it just totally turns me away from Bruce Springsteen, because I just think in my head, damn, you forgot your roots. You forgot, you was down here on the bottom too. Struggling eating them ramen noodles and salty
See,
crackers.
I don't know what he's done. I mean, I don't even.
But
think about that much.
I couldn't find any much humanitarian things, and I was just.
He has had a. He sure had a great career.
I mean,
He's just coming out with
you should
something
just
else.
practice what you preach. If you're preaching about helping the common man, help the common man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So I guess Bruce wins. And
Bruce, wait.
Finally.
They're not booing.
I,
or
honestly,
saying
if I
Bruce.
was my heart, I'm a Mellencamp fan. I like I said, I've never been in
As
Bruce
far
too
as-
much.
Listen, if I'm going to put on an album while I clean my house,
Put on
it's
John
gonna be-
Mellencamp.
it's going to be because I can find a Mellencamp album that fits any mood. In fact, the last vinyl that I bought was Mellencamp, and I'll tell you what it is. It's kind of rare, and I've been looking for it forever and could not find it, and finally I did. It's only on the B side of a 45, and it is a cover version of James Brown "Cold Sweat,"
Huh.
and
I have to
it
hear that.
kicks 50 kinds of ass. It
Huh.
is so damn good. And what it is, it's on the B side of the 45 for Rumble Seat from Scarecrow.
Mm.
So I had to buy Rumble Seat, the 45 of Rumble Seat from
That
Scarecrow.
little snippet on
That's
Scarecrow, the old woman
Yeah,
singing.
that's his grandma.
Was a dark storm.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's his grandma.
Night
I don't know if you knew
as
that
the
or not.
train
No, that's
rattled
cool. Yeah,
on.
yeah.
My favorite Mellencamp song is Cherry Bomb.
Okay,
All
I
right.
think we're about Mellencamp.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
All
keep
right.
talking about
Let's-
Father
I want
Kyle.
to
You're
get
just a
into.
hater.
I want to get into something I kind of forgot to do at the beginning of this.
What, apologize?
Well, yeah,
For being an asshole.
that's why I have Kyle on here. At least I look good. So,
That's a matter of opinion too.
hey, one of the things I wanted to bring up though, because this was such a big, heartful thing for me last week, was Eddie Van Halen dying. He was my hero. He's one of the first artists that I fell in love with when I began my music search in the back, in the day and stuff. And I got to meet the guy.
Don't go too deep.
Yeah, and I just wanted
Just
to
'cause.
say a shout out for Eddie. He's really the first person that I followed his whole life that actually died that hurt me when he died. Neil Peart was close, but I grew up and
Yeah.
started my music journey with
The first one
Eddie
that
Van
really
Halen.
killed me like that. Not to take away from
And all you Eddie Van Halen fans and mourners, just hold on there because Darren Jester has something special for that.
Yeah,
But-
good.
The one of the first ones that really hit me, and we've talked about this in the past, because the store was still open.
Yeah.
Dio.
Dio, yeah.
Yeah.
That was. But I mean, Dio. I learned Dio after Van Halen even. So I mean, it's
Obviously.
just it
But
it really touched me. I mean, to see, and I even when he died and I listened to some of his other stuff again, just to reminisce. I mean, there's a lot of magic in that guitar, man.
He was truly a pioneer.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do now.
Yeah.
first two things I put on were Women and Children First and Diver Down.
And both great
Yeah.
albums. Two of the best that he did.
Yeah. And I mean, and we talked about this before. There's two different styles of that old Van Halen and new Van Halen. I think one was a little more of that dirty rock sound, and then Sammy and them were a little more Billboard, Rolling Stone.
I love both
poppy.
versions.
But
There's like
both
two
are
different
awesome.
bands to me.
Yeah,
Like two
awesome.
different bands.
We're not having a Van Hagar
So-
show right now.
Yeah.
The two that hit me the hardest, for some reason, and I didn't even listen to him that much at the time, but Stevie Ray Vaughan,
Yeah.
just because he was so young. I remember when I was a kid and Elvis died, and my mom and her friend were just,
I remember.
they were acting in a way that I was almost embarrassed. I was like, what in the hell? I had no
Played
empathy
here
for
right
that at the
before
time.
that.
Yeah.
So they were just, like hysterical. But when Stevie Ray, I shed a tear when Stevie Ray died. I was finishing up college, just about done, and it was such a tragic loss. And then I was crushed when Prince died.
Yeah.
Partly because I felt like he was still
Got a lot of.
relevant, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to be 60, he was probably 60 years old, I'm guessing,
Prince, Tom
and
Petty.
was just still so relevant.
Yeah.
And I didn't make this up, but I read
That's a
a
good
passage that somebody wrote, and it makes sense. Whenever somebody lacks sympathy for our mourning over people we don't know personally, we don't mourn because we knew these people. We mourn because they helped us know ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and that connection that they have to us, and everybody's different. I mean, I loved Eddie Van Halen. I respected him. One of my friends gave my son, myself, Paul Bisker, who was in the Groove Doctors with me, and another buddy, 8th Row when they were in Indy last time. And I'm so glad I got to take my son to see him. And he was as good at that show as he ever was.
Yeah.
David Lee wasn't, but I didn't even care.
Yeah.
I didn't even care, but Eddie was. So
He was
you
an
know,
entertainer.
when you
Part
see that, it is just so impressive. It means so much to us, but it means something different to everybody. And everybody has their different
And
favorites.
plus,
But
I'm even excited to see what Wolfgang comes out with now.
you know, they did
have
fine. He
I
did fine.
I seen a TV show with Eddie through this whole process, and he has a whole room of tapes that he doesn't even know what's on.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean,
that's
they
true.
showed that it was like file cabinets and file cabinets. So now Wolfgang's got control of that. I mean, I bet he even has a blues album
I wouldn't
and
know.
all kinds of stuff that
All
we're going to
kinds
see
of stuff
come
that
out.
was built out of that.
You know,
Yeah, I was, you know, it's kind of funny because I started, my first instrument was saxophone. I was about 10 years old, I was in 5th grade, and started playing saxophone. And then I had already been playing drums and kind of would get up and play with my dad's. Man, I could only keep a beat. I didn't really progress on drums, but I didn't pick up a guitar till I was about 16. And at that time, you know, that was like 1984 or 85. And all my friends that played music they were playing Van Halen and Zeppelin and all this stuff, but that's not what I loved. That wasn't what I was playing.
yeah.
I was playing Michael Jackson, Prince, Motown, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
I was playing all that funky stuff, and I tried so hard to play what Prince played, you know,
Yeah.
and get that little funky, just that groove, man. I just, you know, one of the first songs that I ever learned that made me want to play guitar was Long Train Runner and Doobie Brothers, because I had that funky rhythm guitar in it.
Yeah.
So I never really went through my Van Halen phase as far as wanting to play Van Halen songs, but I
Yeah.
sure loved it.
Yeah.
You know?
You
Yeah.
mentioned the Doobie Brothers. What's the name of the Michael?
Warren Taylor talking about our life.
Michael.
Warren Taylor went to Farm Aid before.
Singer.
Yeah, Michael Monroe or whatever.
Oh God.
The Doobie Brothers singer.
Who is?
I can't remember the fucker's name.
What's it? Oh
But
my God! I can't.
Anyway, speaking of a connection with Van Halen and them, he helped them write, what was that song on 1984?
Michael McDonald.
Yeah, Michael McDonald. He co-wrote, what was the 7th song on 1984?
So he had to help them on the song, huh? I didn't
Michael
know that.
McDonald, I would have never imagined